Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934, is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Fall in love with autumn with PJ's new seasonal lattes. Our pumpkin latte brings you all the flavors of a pumpkin pie with hints of cinnamon and nutmeg, like your favorite holiday dessert in a cup. And our s'mores latte with flavors of toasted marshmallows, warm milk chocolate, and graham cracker cinnamon is sure to bring back campfire memories. The PJ's Fall Seasonal Lattes, available at your local PJ's only for a limited time.
Hey, New Orleans, get ready for some rugby. There's a new pro sports team in town, and it's NOLA Gold, bringing world-class rugby to the Crescent City. The game is fast, the hits are hard, the fan experience is for real. Season tickets, lifetime tickets, and game day passes are all available at nolagoldrugby.com. I'm John Goodman, and I'll see you in the scrum.
Well, here's the bottom line. It's funny that you say that. Let me tell you. Good evening and welcome to Primetime Sports. Hey, I'm your host, Scott Alexander. Hey, I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to make this quick. I've got a great show. Zach Line, the fullback for the Saints, who just scored a touchdown this week to put the Saints on the board for the first time. And also I have Isidore Newman head coach Nelson Stewart, because he's going to talk about the entire state championships this weekend. And hey, by the way, two of the players from perhaps the greatest team in Louisiana high school football history. There, I said it, the U-High Lab. Coming up next on Prime Sports. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. Hey, listen, this time of year, I don't talk high school sports all year long, but this is the time of year that they deserve it. So we're going to have Nelson Stewart, the head coach of Newman, who called the game with me, with U-High. He called that championship game, and he called 8 of the 9 for either WWL or NOLA.com. He's going to come in and talk about the big championships, and we have a couple players from that great U-High team, that team that went undefeated for the second straight year, that team that's got 18 Division I football players, including tons of Power 5 conference players. Well, we've got one guy going to Virginia and the other the quarterback, who's going to still make his decision, but they're going to come on and talk about that great team they've had. But right now, it's New Orleans Saints time. That's right, the New Orleans Saints had another big win. They got over that Cowboys loss after winning 10 games in a row. They now stand at 11-2, and I think if you're honest with yourself before the season, you'd be like, wow, I'll take 11-2 all day. Before the year, during training camp, we had on fullback Zach Line. During the season, we had kicker Will Lutz. Well, you know what? With Christmas looming and the playoffs around the corner, the Saints have now clinched their division, and they haven't even played the Carolina Panthers. We thought we'd bring Zach Line back and talk about how this season has gone so far. So welcome back to Pride of the SMU. Ponies, the Mustangs.
Yes,
welcome
sir.
back to the show, bud.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We have a running back that's coming on who just picked Virginia Cavaliers over SMU. Maybe you can have a little talking to him. He's a guy that's got like 8,000 career yards in high school, Mike Hollins. But what was it like playing high school before you went on to play at SMU?
didn't have 18 D1 scholarships on my team. I think there was one team in the state, Muskegon, who we ended up not having to play that had those kind of numbers, and those teams are scary to watch.
Crazy, isn't it?
So I think I was the first scholarship athlete in like 6 years out
At
of
your
my
school?
So
Nice.
we were just a bunch of hardworking guys that believed in that hard-nosed football.
You're a Midwesterner, and you decided to go down south towards, not the deep south, but you went to Dallas. What was that like playing football there?
I love Dallas. I mean, SMU was my basically only offer. I got offered by Hawaii, and then June moves to SMU, and I follow him there.
June Jones, that's right. June Jones, that's interesting. And by the way, Saints fans, SMU is the second most represented team on this roster. We all know about Ohio State and all the players that they have, all the great players. We don't even need to name those. But SMU, Thomas Morstead, Zach Wood, goes down the line. Name the players that are your teammates from SMU.
That are on the Saints right now?
Right.
I mean, Thomas Morstead, we got Banjo.
Chris Banjo. Zach Wood.
Laribus, Zach Wood.
Josh Laribus, and you. That's five right there.
Last year we had Sterling Moore, so we were at 6. So
Sterling Moore.
Need to get that number up a little bit more.
All right, when you came down during training camp, Saints were coming off that great year. They went to the playoffs. They're just one play away from going to the NFC Championship game. That was heartbreaking. A lot of people didn't know how they'd respond to that. Coming into the season, what were your feelings about how this team would be? Did you have any thought that y'all would win 10 games in a row and be sitting at 11-2 right now?
It's always hard in the NFL to say you're going to win, every game, be sitting at 13-0 or whatever that number is. It's hard to predict, but you know what you need to do. We knew we had a good team coming off of last year, and like you said, it was one play away from going on to the next round. So our motto coming in was prove them right, and that started with Sean, and we've just kind of built a belief that we're a good team. We just got to believe that, and we don't believe that and not work for it though.
No doubt.
We come out every day, and you got guys like Mike Thomas and Drew Brees and Kamara and Ingram, and those guys don't take a day off or a play off in practice, so it makes it easy on game day to execute. I
mean, you see Drew Brees' work ethic, and Mike Thomas is right there, and I know Alvin Kamara. I've seen the videos he puts out. These guys work hard, but when the best players are working as hard as anybody else or maybe even harder, how does that set the tone for the rest of the team?
Well, it gives you no excuse. If you're not working hard and Alvin Kamara is and Drew Brees are, then I don't know what you're doing. So I kind of had that example set for me in college with Emmanuel Sanders. He was our receiver in college.
Oh, wow. What a great player.
Yeah, he was at SMU. So we had Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, Aldrick Robinson. So our receiving core was pretty good.
Oh, my goodness.
But Emmanuel used to set the tone. He used to work hard in practice. If the game wasn't going right, he would jump in and go in and punt returner. And he didn't like losing. So that's kind of the kind of leadership style I picked up on as I kind of grew into that captain role at SMU.
No, that's good to hear because he just got a season-ending injury. Great player for the Denver Broncos, was having a really nice season.
Yep.
And I had no idea about that side of him. I'm not in Denver, but that's great to hear. Drew Brees just hit that touchdown mark where he got over 500, which is obviously a plateau. He's only trailing a couple guys right now in that category. He got the completions record. He's probably going to have every record. But here's a thing we have on here. You're on that third row up, and you got another receiving touchdown just this Sunday. You scored the Saints' first touchdown. Things were looking bleak. It was 14-3. So that thing is going to go up to 3 TDs, but you also have a rushing TD. You might even have another receiving TD after that. What's it like? I mean, you're on that list of guys that has caught a touchdown from, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, certainly in the discussion of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
It's awesome. I mean, I think he's the best quarterback of all time. It's not just the way he throws the ball; it's the things he does off the field to bring a group of men together as one. It's him and other leaders on the team that do that. But for him to exemplify, to be an example of how to work and how to have a routine, and he makes protection calls and checks routes. It's amazing. I just know my playbook, my part of the playbook, exactly. And that's a lot. So when I see like little things written on the corner that say, "Hey, check out in this coverage," and if there's this look, I'm like, thank God he has to know that.
I mean, it's something else, isn't it? I mean, because I think people would be shocked at all the little things that go into every play. Like, is the way a defender is on, say a receiver, does that completely change the play, or they're supposed to be on the same page with, like, they're supposed to see things in the defense? And how hard is it to get off of the page? Because it's just there's a very slight nuance that sometimes will throw the play off, right?
Yeah, I mean, the other side gets paid too to give us little wrinkles in their coverages, but a lot of times it is just coverages or what kind of box count we have. And Drew will identify that, check out, alert, or kill to a different play. So you definitely need to know your playbook because there's sometimes where Drew will call a play that's, maybe not in the game plan that week.
Right.
So, I mean, both of his over-the-top touchdowns have been just kind of, hey, Zach, just shuffle to the right. I'm going to go over the top.
Right.
Okay, on one. Right.
I love that. Hey, by the way, there it is right there. That's his patented put it right over the top. That's one thing.
That is not easy.
No, you don't see Tom Brady doing that a whole lot. No, I mean, and Drew does it. He puts it right over the line and takes it back so nobody can knock it out. That's kind of a patented thing. You guys like to have fun. I know I have Will Lutz on here. He says he takes you to school on the golf course. I think I know differently.
Okay.
But, I mean, he's one of your good friends. I mean, you guys all hang out and do stuff like go to the golf course and have fun?
We like to go golfing. Normally it'll be me, Zach Wood, and Will Lutz will go out. And I have yet to lose to Will Lutz, so let's put that on the record.
Yeah, they don't play much golf in Atlanta. Come on, he's a Georgia State guy.
You're right. Guys hang out a lot. I mean, we have a lot of time in the locker room, which is nice to hang out, and I think we have a good culture in there. So not as much outside. Running backs go to dinner on Thursdays. A little harder for me the last few weeks because we just had our third girl on what was that? Let's see.
The girl?
Harper, our newest baby.
Oh, so yes, your girl.
2 weeks ago.
How phenomenal is that, by the way?
So 2 Mondays ago, a Victory Monday we had.
Yeah, man, congratulations. By the way, in fact, when you were on here last time, you had just taken your family pictures and your wife was pregnant. I think y'all might have gone to a park or something. So now you have the new addition. So wait, how many do we have now? 3?
We have 3 girls.
You have 3 girls?
Yeah, she was actually born the day after Thanksgiving, so I call it Victory Monday in my mind.
Yeah.
But it was a Friday.
Yeah, because you played on Thursday, right. So was the baby born on the Friday or the Monday?
Friday.
It was born the day after.
Victory Monday for me.
Right. So it's Victory Friday this week. That made it even more special.
Yeah.
And you got to do it after a Falcons win. Doesn't get any better than that down here. By the way, are you immersed yet in that Falcon rivalry? They're not. It's always better when both teams are doing real well, but it's still a great rivalry regardless. And I know, like when the Saints weren't doing well a few years ago and the Falcons were undefeated, they came in on a Thursday night and the Saints beat him, although the Saints were only 1-4. So the records really don't matter. That's why this game worried me a little bit, because the Falcons, they want nothing better than to knock off the Saints and vice versa. Does it feel good for a guy? Because you're not a long-time veteran here like a Drew Brees who's been around through all the wars, and you're not from the Deep South, or you probably didn't know the rivalry before. But what's it like for you now as a player that's been here a few years?
Yeah, being in the NFC North for 4 years, Packers. We did not like the Packers.
Right. So you're with the Vikings.
Yeah. I would still say to this day that I have a little bit of a distaste for the Packers, but my buddy from Mandeville always talked about the Falcons rivalry, and he's a diehard.
And the first time you heard it, you probably didn't know much about it, I'm imagining.
No, yeah.
Right.
It can't be what the NFC North is like that. But no, like as soon as you get down here, you feel it from Sean, you feel it from the other coaches, you feel it from the team, and you feel the vibe in the city, because the
fans don't like them.
The city will let you know everywhere you go. The Falcons got to go down.
I lived there for 20 years, and they still think I might be a mole put here by Atlanta, really? Even though I'm a New Orleans native. I'm like, and I hated the Falcons when I lived there. Trust me, it is a born thing here. I grew up next to the stadium. They used to play at Tulane Stadium, the old one, which seated 80,000 people. And I remember they beat the Saints 62-7 or 63-7 when I was like 7, and they kept pouring it on, and it got me as a 7-year-old kid, and I just wanted to pound them every time since then. So when the Saints and Sean Payton has had his way for the most part over with the Falcons, they've had some good runs too. But the fact is it warms the hearts of New Orleanians more than anything else when the Saints, and that's the day I met you last year. You scored a touchdown against the Falcons. I ran into you at Rouse's, and I was sitting here and I was looking at the Redhead Tsunami. I said, I think that's the fullback Zach Line. I think he scored today. So I walked up to you. So you feel it now?
Yeah. No, I definitely feel the rivalry, and I had another touchdown in our first game against Atlanta. So.
How great was that?
So I've been good for the Atlanta rivalry, I feel like.
Good. You got a couple touchdowns. And you got one Sunday. The Saints were kind of languishing. They had lost on Thursday night the week before to the Cowboys. First loss in 11 games. And then they were kind of struggling a little bit. In this game, it was 14-3. And then you scored the first touchdown of the game.
Yeah, we were in a little bit of a rut there first half. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was, worrying about field conditions and then guys were worrying about, I don't know.
Was it wet? Because I was doing another game.
Oh, it was pouring before the game,
Okay.
so warm-ups were kind of brief, and it's just kind of one of those things where, I don't know, maybe it slips into some guys' minds that wet ball, wet feel, we were playing a little different, but I think once we got a feel for what was going on, we just took it and ran with it, and thank God for Taysom Hill. Him and Alex Odiari worked that move every day in practice when we're doing punt, just that up and under, and it worked out.
I forgot to ask you this last time you were here. I saw you, well, I guess it was been a few weeks after you were here when y'all played the Vikings, and I noticed you were talking to some of your ex-teammates. You're friendly with them still. What did it feel like for you as a former Viking in that championship game, and you come into the team you used to play, it looks like you got the win, you struggled in the first half, came back, played a great second half, and then to have it ripped out at the very end. I didn't ask you, because you're a former Viking, you might be the only one. How bad was that for you?
That was bad. I mean, I didn't know what to feel after that game, because I think it's over. I'm ready to go over and do a little jersey exchange with Adam Thielen, who's a good friend of mine. And,
yeah.
I still did the jersey exchange, but I was kind of just numb.
Right, you're numb. Yeah.
So that's the second time that's happened to me in a playoff game. So I started to think I was the curse, because I was there for we played Seattle and we missed a field goal.
The extra point thing with Blair.
Yeah.
Blair Walsh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was the second time in the playoffs where I'm like, man,
how does this happen?
How does this keep happening to me?
Exactly.
So, but it was good. I mean, it was awesome to go back this year, and I didn't like that it was called America, like a comeback.
Right.
It wasn't a comeback.
Right.
Like we came back.
Y'all had a great comeback.
And
people forget how great the Saints were, like doing nothing in the first half, and that comeback was incredible. And nobody remembers anything about it because of that last play. What's the vibe right now? Get that play out. Let's talk about this season going in. Last question. What's the vibe right now in your mind with this Saints team with 3 games left and obviously already clinched the playoffs? You see that back-to-back NFC champions, South for the first time, going into the playoffs.
I think this team knows what our goal is. Obviously the end goal is the Super Bowl, and I've never been on a team before where getting an NFC championship or getting a division championship was just like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, we got that. That's just a check mark.
Check. I mean, when I was in Minnesota, that was a huge thing, right? We'd be pumped up. But, I mean, we were happy, but do a little dance party, and after that, we're on to the next game, right? We're on to Carolina, and we're on to getting that, because the next goal now is first round bye and home field advantage, throughout. So,
everybody's ready, huh?
Yep.
Man, Zach, it's been great. You played next Monday night, the last road game. You go to Carolina. I want to thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you very much. I got a present for you. Last time you got a navy blue. Now you got a black. It's Task Performance. I know you said you liked them.
They're awesome.
They're awesome?
Yes.
I love them too, my man. And here, your wife will love this gift certificate to Shays de la Shays.
Thank you.
That's on Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway. Once again, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Zach Line just scored a touchdown. He got the Saints back in that game. And by the way, his job is to make the other guys look good, but sometimes he gets a little chance in the sun as well. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the Saints team moving forward. I've got to run. We have a big show coming up. We'll be right back on Primetime Sports.
Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
The owners of the de la Shays Wine Bar on St. Charles Avenue have opened up their newest creation uptown on Maple Street called Chez de la Shay, a new local wine bistro featuring a larger menu of small and large plates, a brighter atmosphere, and full table service. Additionally, patrons can enjoy a large patio out front as well as an extensive wine list offering selections from around the world. It's Chez de la Shay, 7708 Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll. At Mid-City Lanes, the home of rock and roll.
Embracing New Orleans soul with style and fashion wear from NOLAshirts.com. Show off your love for one of America's unique cities with shirts, belts, and hats in a variety of colors and styles. NOLAshirts.com proudly celebrates the culture and embodies the spirit and determination of people from the Crescent City. The tradition lives on at NOLA Shirts. DeltaCity.com.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. What a great segment with Zach Line. Don't worry about that loss against the Cowboys. They are back. 3 more games. 2 of them are at home after the Monday night game coming up this next Monday against the Carolina Panthers. You got the Steelers and then the Panthers again, and then, of course, the playoffs. Hopefully the Saints will keep that home field advantage. But moving forward, I want to talk some high school football. This is the time of year I do it. Last week we had head coach JT Curtis, and look out, he just won this game 49-7. Next segment, we're going to have a couple players from that great team at U High, one of the greatest teams ever, University Lab. They went undefeated for the 2nd straight year, had a great championship game against St. Thomas More. We're going to have their quarterback back on, John Gordon McKernan, and their star running back, Mike Hollins, who's going to Virginia. I can't wait to have those guys on. Also, we always have a tradition of bringing on coaches. We've had the Carr coach, Landry Walker's coach. We've had Catholic High's coach last year. Lots of coaches when they win. This year we're going to do something different. I have a coach, but I have the coach of Newman High School who called the game with me. He called the U High game. We called a couple last year. His name is Nelson Stewart. He actually called 8 of the 9 championship games either on WWL or NOLA.com. So here he is right here. He's also the member of that 1998 Tulane undefeated team back in 98 when Tommy Tuberville led that team to an undefeated season. And also, he played with Peyton Manning at Newman and coached Odell Beckham Jr. at Newman. And here he is right here, Nelson Stewart.
Good to see you.
What's up, bro? How you been, man?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me.
We had a good time calling those
good
games.
Call. Yeah, you do a great job. You just led the ship. I just stayed in the back. Really good job, man.
I led the ship. In fact, I'm going to tell people this. Without him, I was just going to go ahead. I had a game to do in Arizona this weekend, the Lions and Cardinals. I was supposed to be there on Thursday. So when they asked me to do it, I said, I'll do it on one contingent. Is Nelson Stewart going to be available? And you were. So we had fun.
We had a great time. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so out of these 8-9 games, out of the 8 or 9 games you called, I mean, listen, they had 3 on Thursday, 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday. Did any just stand out immediately as most memorable for you? Besides the one you called me, of course.
Yeah, well, right, yeah. Well, I think the one that was the most, I guess, impactful, the most surprising was the John Curtis team. You know, John Curtis, because of the fact that, you know, they went in Division I after so many years of dominance and, you know, however many years, 4 or 5 years, to see them beat Catholic the way that they did. Just they completely dominated, you know, really every facet. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They ran the ball just so effectively. Their defense was just in the backfield constantly. I thought their special teams were spectacular. And that was almost a dominant performance back when they were in 2A. So, you know, I think obviously their 27th state championship, the way they did it, but yeah, I thought that was a real dominating performance.
I had JT here. He's been on the show a couple of times before, but I saw a difference in JT Curtis. You see right there. He doesn't look old enough to have almost 600 wins. I mean, you're a coach. Think about this. But he had lost to Jesuit in the final in 2014. He lost to Catholic the year before in 2017. So I could tell that this guy was ready to win this game. I had no idea they were going to blow him out, but that's the most shocking part of it all, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's like you said, is that they would just blow them out the way that they did. I mean, you know, that's a school, again, 2 state championships for Catholic High. You know, they're amazing coach Gabe Fertitta, just, you know, this powerful spread offense that you could just see going in there. They'd had a big win previous week, and you know, I just didn't expect that. Their game was really never in doubt. They were focused throughout. I thought John Curtis, again, very well coached, but like they just felt like a team on a mission. I mean, throughout to go undefeated in the Catholic League.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's really tough. And then to have, you know, play your best, obviously at the end of the year. I think that speaks volumes. And Catholic's a program I just respect tremendously, and was just kind of in awe of calling that football game and the job that they did.
Hey, before we get to the other champions, I want to talk about Peyton Manning. I mean, this is a guy that's one of New Orleans' own. Obviously went to Tennessee, but he played at Newman. You were on that team. What was he like to be a teammate with?
He's as good of a teammate as I've ever had. You know, I think he helped take our program to a completely different level. In the 70s, or I should say 80s, we were really basketball heavy as we went through. We really battled. But in 1991, when he came in, I think he helped shift our culture. The roster swelled. We were able to really start throwing the ball downfield. And he was just a great teammate. He's a good friend. We grew up together. He treated his linemen just like his best wide receivers. He was one of our only 2-time captains. He was captain as a junior and senior. And, you know, I look back now, and it was just an unbelievable time. And we were were kids, we didn't realize we were playing with the guy I thought was the best quarterback of all time. And he's just a great kid from the Garden District that worked hard. So I've always been in awe of him. He's been fantastic to me. He always gives back to Newman. And it's just a time I cherish, and it's one that I think really helped build where we are today. That really was kind of the engine that really got us going to where we are today.
You had him, and people forget that Randy Livingston was a basketball player during that time, and he went to LSU. He had 2 knee injuries, but he was the #1 player in the country 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
He was co-player of the year with Jason Kidd one year.
Yeah.
And that's how good Randy was. So you had these 2 guys at this little private school, which kind of is going to be a segue to U High right now, because they're a little private school, and they've got a bunch of guys like that. Now, Manning's the greatest quarterback, or in the conversation with Brady and some others, Montana as the greatest ever. That's going to be tough to achieve, but U High is doing it well. We're going to get to that. But also, you coached Odell Beckham Jr. That's a little bit surreal as well.
Yeah.
Now, it's one thing to say, hey, man, we didn't know we were playing with the greatest quarterback. Well, you're playing with the highest paid wide receiver in the history of the NFL, and certainly one of the most talented.
Yeah, I'm just so proud of him. The thing about Odell that I always say it's his work ethic and the way he approached practice was really his impact on our program. He was explosive every time he could. He scored, ran down the field, and obviously what he did when we went to LSU and left us, we never saw that coming. But I think it's a direct result of how hard he works. He went in there, a smaller wide receiver that while he had all these national offers, he went there and he got better.
Yeah.
He keeps in touch with me this day. I get that text every off day, and I just love him to death, and I couldn't be prouder. And I really do think the best is yet to come, and I can't take any credit. I was just blessed.
I do believe that too. I believe the best is yet to come from him, because I think he's going to get some great team stuff to go along with the individual lines. But he's also spawned the hairdo, which we're going to see in a little bit.
Yeah.
I know U High had a couple players that had kind of more of this look. You're going to see Mike Hollins and obviously John Grover McKernan as a team thing. They all got the platinum blonde look, but Odell's the one that kind of started this trend across the country.
Yeah, Head and Shoulders, right? Yeah, I think that as Polamalu went out, he went in.
He was doing it before the Head and Shoulders.
He was. Well, I think the thing with him is that, he's very stylish, I think, for him. Ever since he was young, he always has been. And, hey, he makes it look good. I certainly, it's a hard look to pull off. But I think, again, it's good from him from a notoriety standpoint. I think it's part of now. And it's hard to believe that you could go anywhere in the country and you say Odell and they think of him, one name.
One name.
I just think of him as old number 3. I still call him that.
It's just like Cher, man. One name.
Name.
Hey, I'm dating myself with Cher, I guess. All the young people are like, who? hey, but I'd be remiss. My Tulane friends would really be on me if I didn't mention that you were part of their greatest team ever, 1998, undefeated, 12-0, kind of like the UCF of your time. Mm-hmm. You didn't get the national championship, but you got to play in the Liberty Bowl. You won the Conference USA back then, and you had Sean King, who ended up being a great NFL quarterback, a very good one. Let's just say that. There he is right there with Tampa Bay, et cetera. So talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's really the era that really helped shape me as a coach. I came in under just an amazing individual in Buddy Tevens, and Tommy Bowden came in.
Right.
And I think he just totally reshaped the culture. He was innovative in bringing in the spread offense with Rich Rodriguez, the way he held us accountable. His strength program, I still have nightmares running across the campus at 3 a.m. to be late for workout. And, it was an
I just realized
time.
I called Tommy Bowden Tommy Tuberville.
Happens,
I know, I'm laughing because I just was telling stories with Sean McDonough about Tommy Tuberville on Sunday night. So I apologize, Tulane fans. I know it's Tommy Bowden. I know it well. And plus, I'm a little sick right now.
Yeah.
Hey, moving forward, let's talk about the rest of these games. Let's go to U High right now because that was special. I made my boards out and I'm writing it. If you call a game, you have all the players' names. You put notes by them and things you might want to bring up during the game if it calls for it. And I'm just remembering that I had all these same guys last year, and I'm like, these guys are all back. This team was loaded with seniors now, and third-year players. In Mike Hollins' case, a fourth-year starter. And up and down the line, you saw guys going to Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas. LSU in the future with Roy. You had Virginia. You had these great schools up and down. I'm like, my goodness, they're loaded.
Yeah, they really are. They had 19 and 22 starters back. Obviously, I think the world of their coach, Chad Mahaffey, who does this fantastic job.
Y'all are good friends.
We are. But looking at your board, I remember we were joking. It was hard to keep up with it. Oh, is he going to Arkansas or is he going to Alabama or is he going to Virginia? So much talent, so explosive. I think that the biggest thing when you have that much talent, I still think they played well as a team. They had good ball distribution. You couldn't really hone in on one player. I think that, they were obviously faster, physical. They were so explosive because I tell you what, St. Thomas More was fantastic.
They were good.
They were really good. Their tempo, they played with it. I thought U-High stayed in it throughout. And obviously they went against the second best team in their division. And, they proved, I think they were one of the top teams in the country, as explosive in offense, at least as I've seen. They battled some adversity throughout the game. And look, that's a tough thing to do. Win 3 state championships. I believe it's their 3rd one. And obviously a ton of talent, great culture. And they don't look like they're slowing down because they just keep reloading year in and year out.
Well, he's going to have to replace a lot of players next year, but that team is certainly one for the ages. I said it's the best team I've ever seen on high school level. And I was in Georgia when they had some great teams. I was there for 20 years, and I was around the high school level a little bit, and I'm trying to think of one of them, that might have been there, and I saw some other ones from Florida. It's certainly up there. Congratulations to U-High for that. Hey, moving forward, the other games, 5A, Zachary won their 2nd straight title, just like U-High did. And that's another team, by the way, that U-High beat. They beat state champions for 2 straight years. Yeah, last year it was Catholic and West Feliciana and Zachary. This year it was Zachary who won again. But talk about why this team was able to overcome West Monroe in a very good game, 27-24.
Unbelievable game. Yeah, Coach Dave Brewerton, the job he's done as 3rd state champion. They are as fast a team as I've seen. They have an outstanding track program. They won on big plays. They came out early. They jumped them. And it felt like it almost could have been a blowout the way they were working. But all of a sudden, West Monroe settled down, started running right at them, playing power football, and you just felt the momentum getting sucked out of Zachary, and it was back and forth. It was a battle of heavyweights. It was real physical. It was back and forth, and as memorable a finish as you could imagine, whereas West Monroe went down the field, just an unbelievable, go-ahead touchdown, and then ironically, about 2 minutes left, Zachary, a fumbled snap, and everybody for West Monroe froze. He picked it up through a tunnel screen and went 80 yards. I'd never seen anything like it.
That's how it happened?
That's how it ended.
Because I was on the road at that point.
It was an unbelievable ending, and it took your breath away, but it was just an unbelievable matchup.
So that's back-to-back titles you see there, first time 4 years. Hey, but as far as that team, do they have like the stars going to college, like say at U-High?
Well, I think they're starting to. I mean, you're starting to hear a lot about some of their players, and they're getting offers. I think they're still a young program.
Right.
Whereas U-High so much more established. A lot of their players were underclassmen. Their best player was a sophomore.
Wow.
Their best wide receiver was a sophomore.
Nice.
Really to me, the thing about them is, again, their speed. Their slots were all 5'9" to 5'11". They just were explosive. They had a real multiple-base quarterback. He could run, he could throw. And, again, they're very innovative offensively. Coach Brewerton runs just a dynamic offense. You really can't cue in on just one thing. And, their facilities are amazing, and they want to be a national power. That's the thing Coach Brewerton says. We are not happy with this. He threw you can look at their facilities right there. He threw the number 3 up, and you get the feeling, Coach Lou Valden said, the king is dead. There's a new king as West Monroe went down. Well, I don't necessarily, think that. I think that's a statement that they are, per se, the new king of 5A that a lot of people think, and they just don't look like they're slowing down. You look at, as you walk in, it almost looks like a college campus, and they're built for it. They have an amazing coaching staff. I think you're going to see it for years.
Old guys like me think of Zachary and they think of one thing, Doug Williams, the great Doug Williams, who ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Redskins, but he went to Grambling, and he was older than me. But I always that's when I was looking at the paper. That's one of my first memories for high school football, honestly, is looking at the paper, and Doug Williams was signed to go to Grambling, and then he ended up being a superstar, Tampa Bay and the Redskins as well. Hey, moving forward, down here in New Orleans, there's a couple pretty good teams, and one of them has just won their 3rd straight title. When I say pretty good, that's an understatement, because Carr, what they're doing on that 4A level is unparalleled. I mean, Bryce Brown is their head coach. Yeah. There's Bryce right there. Yeah. I say Bryce is not that guy running through. But he's such a good head coach, and he's got players every single year that seem to be playing on that D1 level.
Yeah, I think Bryce is at a point now, he's just so calm. When you watch him, he has such a stoic presence. His teams tend to have that. I think when you watch them, while they're emotional, they're energetic, they're just so controlled in everything they do. Their execution is flawless. They played a great Warren Easton team under my former teammate Jerry Phillips, who went in there, and I felt like they had a really good chance.
I love Jerry Phillips, by the way.
Great coach, and you could see it. It was back and forth, and that was probably the most energetic game. And it was I felt like all of New Orleans was in there, and it was back and forth. And in the end, ironically, there's Jerry. It might have been the end there.
Yeah.
They were driving to win it, and Carr strips the ball out, runs down the field, and then after Warren Easton had another chance to win, they had a zone blitz where a big 310-pound D tackle got an interception to win it. Obviously, I was proud of both teams. I think that Louisiana football, New Orleans football is great when you have two teams like that in Dome, but for Bryce Brown to do that the third straight time.
3 straight titles.
It's just unbelievable. His culture is outstanding. His players, they have guys that sign, but you can look at his staff. You can look at his presence. That doesn't happen by accident. I think Carr, just a huge power in this city.
And that was a previous year right there with Carr. And by the way, they like you said, so well coached. When you watch them, you just know that they have some good coaching behind them. Going forward, I mean, did they have anybody returning next season that they could possibly get a four-peat?
Oh, I think without question. They had a lot of guys on defense look real good. Some of their wide receivers. I think for them, the thing about Carr, when it becomes a cultural thing and you get kids that want to come to your school, to me, it becomes so much more about the program than the players.
Right.
I think that's where they're at that point where, you're looking at, well, who's this guy? At one point I was joking, calling 20 Ed Reed because that's how he was playing at that point. And I think so. I just think they're at a point where, the Carr Cougars aren't going anywhere. I don't think Bryce Brown is. I think he's got them right where he wants them, and they're just a phenomenal program.
Well, Nelson, it's been a long time coming. Like I said, I wouldn't have even wanted to call that game without you, and hopefully we can do this from years on out. Hopefully you'll be in it, and you won't be up there. Hopefully you'll be in it. You've been close.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have to give your quarterback a shout out.
Yeah.
Martin Butcher, phenomenal season. He's honored earlier today at the quarterback touchdown quarterback club of New Orleans. What a great play. You've been blessed with some great quarterbacks.
Unbelievable quarterbacks, and he's as good as we've ever had. 3,200 yards passing, 54 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His numbers are amazing, but he was 22-3 as a starter, undefeated in JV, undefeated in middle school. He's a winner. He is just phenomenal. I adore him. I love him. I can't replace him. I don't think we can, but just a storied career. He was a blessing to coach and broke all Peyton Manning's records and did it such as a leader, so humble. He's just
I mean, you had Miles LaPierre. I'm going to give him a shout out because he's at Tulane right now. Great quarterback. You had Jay Tyler, who's at Stanford right now, and Herb Tyler, the former LSU quarterback's son, a great quarterback. And I know you got one down the line.
We do.
You got one down the line. He also has a Manning name. He's Cooper's son, Arch Manning. And, I'm with Brando every weekend, and Brando and Archie Manning, the dad, my grandfather, like to talk all the time. And I get updates about Arch, and I'm hearing some good things.
Yeah, he seems like a really special kid. I think the thing for me that's really neat is he's one of my first teammates' sons I've ever had a chance to coach. And he's a special player. I think the thing with Arch is he's had a great middle school career as he comes in as a freshman. Let him get out there, compete, get his feet wet. I just can't wait. I can't wait to work with him. And we've got a great returning quarterback in Bo Adams, and he'll be able to compete a little bit on both sides. But Arch is real special. And
he's young. I know he's young.
He's young, but I'm very. But no, we're excited. I think it's great. Really, with the job that Coach Matthews has done in middle school, and we're awfully excited to have Arch coming in, and it's real special for us. And again, just a great opportunity to coach us phenomenally.
Well, it's going to be fun, Coach. I appreciate
thank you so much.
We have gifts here.
Oh, thank you.
There's a gift certificate to Shays de la Shays, a nice restaurant.
My wife thanks you very much.
Right there, not far from Newman. And then
sir.
Task Performance, you are familiar with this?
Yes, the Andrews family, unbelievable, love it.
How's that feel?
Oh, bamboo, it's fantastic.
That's awesome. And by the way, we have a tradition. You were on one of these teams. Give me a nice Nelson Stewart signature.
Yes, sir.
Some of these great Tulane players are right there
sir.
as well. We sign all the LSU Tulane balls. We have plenty of those. Hey, but coming up next, I told you, we got 2 great players coming from U-High, that team we've been talking about, quarterback John Gordon McKernan and running back Michael Hollins, next on Primetime Sports. Hey, last year when U-High won their state championship, I had the head coach Chad Mahaffey. He was on the show with quarterback John Gordon McKernan. Hey, we decided to do something different this year. It seemed like every time the offense had the ball, either McKernan was finding one of those receivers deep or down the middle, or he was handing off to number 7, and he was doing great things. For the 4th straight year, the starting running back for the Cubs has been Michael Hollins, number 7, and he has done great things. He's going to the University of Virginia. John Gordon McKernan has started at quarterback the last 3 years, and they culminated this season in their 2nd straight state championship. Hey, their 2nd straight undefeated season, and they avenged their last loss, which was against St. Thomas More in the 2016 semifinals. And here they are right here. Welcome to the show for the first time, Mike.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great.
And John Gordon, welcome back. You're the youngest person to ever come back twice on the show. We've had a little girl basketball player named Jalea when she was like 8 years old, but we've never had anybody high school or less come on twice, so welcome back.
Well, I appreciate it.
Let's start with you, my man. It just seemed like when that second half got going, you're like, this is my last half of football, and I'm going to tell you what, you ran every play like it was the last time you were ever going to touch the ball. Hard and angry. Did you feel the same way?
Yes, sir, no doubt. My team was pumped up. We knew we had to finish the game even harder and more stronger than we started because that St. Thomas More team was good. So, we stuck together, offense executed, and we came out on top.
Yeah, every time one of the offenses made a big play, and it seemed like there was big plays all the way around. The score was 56-47. Is that the final, or am I off one? 55-46?
I think it's 55.
55-46. I know it was a 9-point finish, but it was 48-46 at one point late. The other team seemed to respond. I mean, and when you're on the sideline watching that offense, that St. Thomas More team, they averaged 60 points a game. And, they would go down the field at ease. When you came back with the ball, did you feel like you had to do the same thing?
Yeah, I think all of the offensive players knew we had to step up. Defenses throughout the past 2 years have been insane with all the players on the defense, but I think offense was clicking. We were in a rhythm, and we just knew each time we just had to fire back. And it's like a Big 12 game out there, a shootout.
Well, you were giving some compliments to their offense coordinator, Shane Savoy, but when you watched them, were you at all surprised that they were, because your defense is littered. I'm talking about littered with D1 players. You have an Alabama guy, you have a Clemson guy. These are the 2 top programs in the country, and you have all kind of other players going to D1 colleges. I was surprised up there. I knew that St. Thomas More could score, but it's one thing to score 70 points against certain teams, and it's another to score almost 50 against University Lab.
I think we were all definitely like, man, we haven't seen that happen, against that defense. But hats off to STM. They got some really good players and some great coaches. So it's really, when you think about it, it's not a big surprise. But to us, it was just like, man, we haven't seen this in a while. We haven't been
exactly.
in this tight of a game in a quick minute.
Well, Coach Mahaffey's known for when you guys get big leads, they take you out of the ball game. You don't get to play a lot of second halves, but even that, and that's happened for the last several years, but even the last 2 years, you were able to get 1,400 yards rushing. You were able to get several more receiving. How'd you end up with your career numbers? I know numbers aren't the main thing you're going for. You're going for, obviously team stats, and you have won 2 straight titles. But when you talk about a 4-year career with a little injury involved in there too, what'd your numbers end up?
I'm honestly not sure right now. I really don't keep up with it. He does.
Yeah, actually,
he comes
the past
and
2
tells me.
seasons, he's got 68 touchdowns.
Nice. 68 touchdowns, and this guy that barely plays in the second half. It seems like every time you touch the ball, you're about to score.
I try to take a lot of pressure off of the play callers, and so I try to make something happen every time I get it.
You're about to go to one of the most prestigious universities in America. Their football program is doing some great things right now. They're moving up. They're playing great football. I know they have a great running back now. Ellis, I believe,
right,
is in there right now. And in the past, I can remember Thomas Jones. I don't know if you're old enough to remember who he is. He was a great running back who had a great NFL career. So they have a history there at Virginia.
Right.
What made you decide to go to play for the Cavaliers?
Just the opportunity, the coaching staff, the team obviously on the uprise, and just life after football with that degree. The Virginia degree, the connections I would have, the doors I would be opened with me going there. So just all of that just into one is just the perfect option for me.
So the last 2 times I've called Gerald's games for WWL in the championship, I've talked to a number of coaches and parents and things like that before the game to get an idea of the players, not just on the field, what they're like off the field. And everybody says you two have been friends for a real long time. Yes. Talk about, very good friends, not just friends, but you go to each other's houses, you hang out. Talk about how that started and talk about your friendship in general.
I mean, since like 6th grade, it's been a long time when we say that. We've been friends. Actually, my mom was just talking to Miss Shannon, his mom,
Right.
earlier before this. I'm always at his house every weekend. I'm never at home. So, I mean, LSU games, after the football game, we go back, hang out, anything. We hit each other up, we go hang out, go eat, bowl, anything. So, I mean, he can talk about it too.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember first time in 6th grade, AAU basketball for Red Storm, and I mean, I was a pretty good player, but you know, he was insanely good.
Yeah, he's Mike Collins.
Yeah, and I don't know, he just came to UI in 8th grade, and somehow we just ended up being best friends.
And do y'all play other sports together? I mean, maybe not necessarily for the team. Do y'all play, around? Do y'all play on any other team together?
Used to play basketball, but we both stopped playing after 9th grade. But we still will go up to the gym and mess around, some try to play.
Do you miss it at all though?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. Sometimes wish I could get back out there, but.
What's a typical weekend? Let's just say LSU's playing a game. I'm just curious. LSU, you said you went to some LSU games. Did y'all grow up LSU fans?
I mean, I did.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he did. I didn't really grow up. I grew up. We moved around a lot because of military, so I didn't really settle on one college team. But definitely, when I came here, I was an LSU fan.
So tell me about a weekend going to a game. What do y'all do? I'm curious with high school because I remember going when I was a kid. I grew up in New Orleans, so we didn't have LSU. I had to go to Tulane games, which is great, but it's a different vibe. What's it like?
I mean, we wake up early. We all obviously we meet at his house. Like 5 or 6 of us meet at his house. Wake up, eat breakfast, watch
the games going
the earlier
on.
games.
Right.
And then we go to campus. I mean, all the high school players. I mean, students.
Do you wear the jackets, or how does that work?
I usually wear LSU stuff. I got to support LSU.
Yeah. I usually just wear like a U-High shirt, or jacket, and the students meet at the Union. We hang out with our friends, then walk to the stadium. But it's a lot of fun. We just walking together. Just walking and talking, walking around campus, just like.
What's campus like though? Well, not LSU. Let's go to your campus. When you're in your 4th year starting, you're in your 3rd year starting. I'm not. Obviously, you're well known around campus. What's it like? You guys are undefeated for 2 straight years. I didn't have a pleasure of playing on any kind of undefeated teams, but walking around school, I've got to feel that's got to feel pretty good. What's it like, first of all, with you?
I mean, I think everyone is. We have a pretty good fan base. Everyone supports the team, but I think it's more about us being close with each other. The football team, just us being brothers. I think it's more, in our group. We're celebrating with us, but I think everyone definitely enjoys it, from the principal to all the different coaches. Baseball coach Morgan, he always is coming up to us when we're at practice and working out. He'll come up and watch and support us, encourage us, just ask about stuff. So a lot of stuff like that, just around campus.
I'd be remiss not to bring up the hair because you look like one year when Justin Timberlake went blonde with NSYNC. You look like him that year. I'm assuming neither of you are natural. I know you're not because you're on my show last year. I'm assuming none of y'all are natural blondes. How did the platinum come about?
Just like a tradition. We did mohawks the year before. We got in a little bit of trouble with Mahaffey about that, but so we switched to blonde.
You talking about before the playoffs, before the finals?
Playoffs.
Okay.
Every year we have a hairstyle for playoffs. So this year was blonde.
And
so
you even got the little bit
down
the
goatee.
Here. All right.
I did it all. Went out big. So senior year we all decided to do it. The starters, and we even got some freshmen, juniors, and sophomores. Like it trying to kind of trickle down. So it was a success.
Well, I looked down on the field because I was looking for you, and then I was like, all of a sudden I found 15, and you took your helmet off literally, and you started throwing some balls on the sideline. Like I said, look at his hair. He went blonde. So I texted your dad, and he said that was a team thing.
Yeah.
So y'all did. Speaking of your team, I got to bring some of these guys up. Christian Harris. Listen, the first time I saw this guy on a football field, I'm like, how is he playing cornerback? And that's an older pick. I mean, this guy's beat up to like 240, 245 now, and he played cornerback at almost 6'3". Plays any position. I even thought this is the one player that might be able to play any position on the field. Maybe not quarterback, but probably every other position and probably play it well. And he's going to Alabama. Your thoughts on Christian Harris?
That's another guy we grew up with, playing sports, track, Little League football, we always played against each other. He was for the Rams. I played with the Bears, so we knew each other really well. Came to U High. He switched to receiver, and I was running back. So, and we already had the chemistry. JG was quarterback. I mean, we all grew up together. Literally, the whole senior class. We've been growing up together. So it was pretty hard to stop us.
It was. And by the way, speaking of him going to Alabama as one of your receivers, the other receiver, oh, by the way, is going to Georgia. And his dad played in the NFL for 10 years, mostly with the Chiefs and Seahawks, if I remember correctly, Reggie. But Micaiah Tongue is that player going to Georgia. What's it like having weapons like this to throw to? I mean, you're not just talking about going to D1. You're talking about the two teams that were in the national championship last year, Georgia and Alabama.
I mean, it's definitely makes me look good. You know, they can. You know, you saw that catch in the end zone. I threw him a good ball. It wasn't a perfect.
And
ball,
I heard he had sprained fingers too.
He had 2 sprained fingers on his left hand and broke a finger when he caught that pass. I think he broke a nut and he kept playing. But it's definitely a blessing for me. To have those guys, and everyone they look at those 2 guys, and you got Dorian in the slot who cuts up people.
He's unbelievable too.
He's really so underrated.
He had a big game.
Underrated.
Dorian Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that was nice. Number 3. Hey, and I got to give your line credit. I mean, Dylan Rathke, all along the line, all those guys except for one was a returning starter. Probably even a couple of them a couple of years. But they protect you. You give your line some props too.
Yeah, no, my line, Paul Phillips in the center. I've been friends with him growing up, so I think all those guys, not just for me, but also for Mike, they're going to protect and do whatever they can to get a hole or to keep someone off us just for a half second. But they did an outstanding job. I think I got knocked down once or twice, and so I really
in that game or all season?
No, that game.
I'm about to say, let's say all season.
St. Thomas More they had a good D line, and for us to me have a lot of time in the pocket and Mike to rush for that many yards, it was outstanding.
And if any U High people are watching this, these shots might not all be from this year. I just gathered what I could. So if that lineman was not somebody from this year, I apologize. Hey, by the way, the defense, got to give them credit. You have a linebacker going to Clemson. It seemed like I called his game nonstop, his name, I should say, nonstop last year. Brighton Constantine, obviously Jacob Burke. These are 2 seniors. Jacob Burke's been leading the team in tackles every year since probably he's been playing. And Constantine Burke's going to go play baseball at Southeastern, which is a great baseball program, and Constantine going to Clemson. Those are the anchors of that defense, right?
Burke, I think they play a little bit different. I think both of them have extremely high IQs, but Burke, you'll see him go down there and just he'll hit people no matter what. He'll just throw his body in there. Well, Brighton always seems to be in the right spot, coming downhill fast, and he plays with a lot of speed.
Well, and by the way, also LSU fans, just so you know, you got some people coming. You got Will Safford going to play baseball at LSU and that great baseball program. A junior, Jaquelin Roy, who might be the most apt to possibly play on Sundays even. He's a big boy in the middle. He's committed to LSU. I know we got a ways to go, but these are some guys that were big for y'all all season.
I honestly think you said the linebackers are the anchor, but the D-line, they hold the double teams. They get down and dirty. The linebackers, they make all the tackles, make all the plays in open field, but
they opened it up.
The D-line, they make it happen. That's kind of like the O-line. Me and JG and the receivers get all the shine, but the O-line, they don't really stand out.
Leland Jones gets after the quarterback. I mentioned Jaquelin Roy. He's only a junior. He's good. And who's
Donald
Berniard? Yes, Berniard.
Right, and our O-line, they also rotate in on D-line. So our O-line and D-line, they don't really get the props they should because they rotate all game, and you never see them drop. You never see them. They're rarely hurt, thank God. But
throw some secondary names out too. I don't want to leave anybody out because it seems like everybody on this team is a star. Oh, Jordan Gilbert. This kid's a sophomore, right? He is smooth. He had a big interception, really big interception towards the end of the half. He makes plays all the time. Will Safford, I mentioned. Who are a couple of the other guys on that?
Jordan Clark.
Jordan Clark. What am I talking about? Ryan Clark's son. By the way, Ryan Clark, who played for the Steelers, played for the Redskins, played for LSU, played for Shaw right here in New Orleans, and he's on ESPN right now. His son Jordan is going to Arizona State. That's one team I didn't even bring up. That's just another D1 guy. Just littered. And by the way, congratulations. I just got to thank you. I wanted to get you down here. I wanted to get you last year. It's a pleasure getting to know you, meet you. I wish you the best. You're going to a great school, and I know you're going to be a superstar there. John Gordon, man.
Thank you for having me down again.
Man, I appreciate you, brother. And
appreciate it.
Great things are happening for you. By the way, you called a masterful game. I want to look you in the eye and tell you that because I watched the way you misdirected, the way you looked off receivers. You had them fooled all night long, and it was a special performance.
Thank you.
It truly was. I got a couple of things for you. You're not in college yet, so I can give these out. Task performance. I'm going to tell you what, you may wear all that other stuff, but feel this. Once you put that on your body, you're not going to want to wear anything else. I tried it 6 years ago, and I've never taken it off. I swear I wear it all the time. Those are 2 great colors.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, you know what? Come down to New Orleans and have a little dinner on me. Chez de la
Thank
Chez, right there uptown.
Appreciate it.
Thank
on
you so
Maple
much.
Street between Carrollton and Broadway. I
for
appreciate you
having
both.
us.
Hey, special team. This might be the best team to ever come out of Louisiana. There's an article, look it up in Morning Advocate, or The Advocate, I guess now, talking about how it probably the best team to ever come out of Baton Rouge. I'll take it further. It's the best team I've seen in Louisiana ever, and I've lived around the country, and it might be the best team I've ever seen. So congratulations to the University Lab. I call them U-High Cubs. And we'll see what they do next year with Chad Mahaffey. Hey, I want to thank Zach Line. Also, we had a great show today. And also, of course, my other guests, too. I've been sick a little bit today and all week long. And Nelson Stewart, the head coach of Newman, who called those games with me. Hey, we'll be back next week. We have a huge show. But don't forget Lolo Jones, the Olympian's coming on here soon. We've got Dalton Hilliard coming on here soon. We've got a lot of big players and a lot of big coaches also right here on Primetime Sports.